Alright, so welcome to day 27 of our Python coding challenge. So today we are doing something interesting. Basically, we are converting string to integer without using the int shortcut that is provided by Python. So can you give this a try and see how you can go about that? This is related to this kind of function or usage in C language. So can you give it a try and see how it goes? So how do we approach this and how do we solve this? So let's get into that now. So I'm just going to first collect my input and I'm going to say s equals to input, enter a number. Just stored in string by default. Alright, so let's just maximize this. So you can see now when we enter it like this, we are getting it like a number as it is. So now, what next thing I want to do now is to have num set to 0, then the sign is equals to 1. So this num is going to store the final integer value, and this sign is set to 1. So just like, okay, to assume that it is positive unless we find it to be negative. So that's why it is set to 1. And I'm going to have one more variable, and that will be I. And I in this case now will be set also to 1. So starting with the index from the next character itself. Okay, I in this will be set to 0. So that's the current position where we are reading the index. So index of the transverse element of this string itself. So the next thing we want to do is we want to check the first character, because we can see here in our example here the first character was a negative integer. So we want to know if it is negative number this user is trying to input. So before us to do that, we use like s right here is equals to. Alright. Then we want to say sign now is equals to -1. Right. So if it is like it, we want to change the sign to -1. I want to set I to the next index that we are going to be reading from, which is index 1. So we'll just go ahead and say why I is less than the length of the string. Why I is less than the length of the string. We want to convert this character using ASCII values, right? And that is something like ASCII values. Now, let me just comment it here, ASCII values. So we have something like, for that to work now, we have something like this, where the value of 0 is 48. Then as it is 48, then 1 will now be something like 49 and so on. Alright, so this is the values I'm talking about. So now we're just going to go ahead and say digits now is equals to the ordinary value of s I minus, okay, now si now, then minus the ordinary value of 0 itself. So this is my digits. Then next I want to set the num is equals to num times 10 plus digits itself. So what I just did here is that now I use this ASCII value to get the digits. And now me doing this now is to shift the existing left by 1 decimal place. So I'm shifting the existing number left by 1 decimal place. That is exactly what I am doing here. So, and this is how we need to do. So I'll just go ahead and print sign times num. So this is just going to apply either the positive or the negative. If the sign is -1, it's going to make it -1. If it is 1, it's going to make it 1. So alright, so we can go ahead and run this. And now if I should enter something like 4, 5, 6. Okay, what is the error I am having here? Alright, so the problem here is that I'm getting an infinite loop. I'm not incrementing my I. So let's go ahead and run that again. So 4, 5, 6 again. So I'm getting 4, 5, 6. But what if it was negative? Negative 3, 4, 5. Still negative. But I know you are not able to differentiate this. But what you should check now is we can do something. So I can decide to print out the type of my S when it was imputed. Then now I have something like Y, and I set it to sign times num, and I'm also printing out the type of num of Y. Alright, so let's look at this. -678. So you can see X initially was a string, but when I'm printing out Y, it is an integer. This is without me using any int keyword to do this conversion. So this is a string to integer conversion using ASCII. Alright, so that is all of it for day 27. So we have 3 more days to go. And alright, I'm going to see you in the next video. Alright. Okay. So a quick example right here that I would just like to explain right here for those that don't get it. So if I say something like odd 1 minus odd 0 is going to give me 1 because it's getting the value, the main value of that one there, which is 49 minus 48. Then it's giving me 1. If it is odd 2 minus, if it's odd 2 minus odd 0, it is 2. So now what I'm not doing now is that every time I now look through this, now I'm going to process it whereby I multiply this, and the second time now I multiply it by 10 itself. So the first time I look through this, now I enter 4, 5, 6. When I get to the first one, it was 4. I multiply the num by 10, which initially is set to 0. Multiply by 10, then add the digit itself. You get how it is. So that is how it works. Alright. So I hope it's more understandable there. So bye. See you in the next video.